What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time. DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote, and maybe you can have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Are you not entertained? Let me entertain you. Make your next thing a big one. Speaking of entertainment, today on the program, so excited, I have Tora Woloshin on the program. What? Who's that? Oh, you know about her. You know she's filmmaker. Yeah, you knew that. Singer-songwriter. Yeah, you knew that too. Photographer? Yeah. You knew that. Dancer. Oh, okay. Artist? Yeah. Oh, and the cream model. Okay. Oh, she's in SAG AFTRA. Oh, okay. What? And she was what? Oh, she was mentored by Simon Cowell? Huh. I'm gonna have to talk to her about that. We're going to get into it in the next few minutes, so stick around. It's going to be a good conversation. Yeah, I think so too. All right, this week's shows. I have no public shows this week. I am not at the Rab on Friday night, my regular Friday night gig, the Video Dance Party Karaoke Jam. That's being covered by All About Entertainment, so make sure you go to the Rab this weekend, Friday and Saturday night, for your weekly dose of Video Dance Party and Karaoke Jam. What am I doing on Friday night? Friday night I will be at a middle school dance. A middle school dance. Yeah, something to break up my the monotony. I don't think it's monotonous, but just something different to do on a Friday night for me. I'm kind of excited. I'm not going to tell you what middle school I'm going to. Yeah, creep. No, I'm going to be at a middle school dance. Very excited about that. And it's cowboy themed, so I get to put my cowboy wear on. I need to find my hat, my cowboy hat. And then on Saturday, I have a wedding down in Jacksonville, Arkansas. But unless you're invited, you cannot come. Why am I saying it? Because I'm excited that I still get to DJ different events and be a part of people's big days. It's so cool. So cool to be a part of this business, to be a part of the show. Speaking of being a part of the show, that's enough intro. Let's get into it with Tora Woloshin. Man, I'm so stoked. I got her on the Skype, so if you're listening to the audio version, I encourage you to check out the video version on my YouTube page, youtube.com/user/KeysDan. Skyping Tora Woloshin now. You win. All right. Tora Woloshin's on my screen and in my ears. If you're listening to the audio version, I encourage you to check out the video version so you can see the lovely Tora Woloshin right there next to me, the queen of art. Amongst other things, my goodness, I found, some people, I hardly ever do any research for these things, but it's impossible, nearly impossible, not to know anything about you, Tora Woloshin, because from what I can see, you're a hard-working person in this business we call show. Give the people an idea of who you are.
I am a singer-songwriter, actress, model, dancer, and filmmaker.
Yeah, I mean, some people, they only put out if they're going to be putting out a bio, they'll put a written bio out. And there's a bunch of bios, not just on your IMDb, on your YouTube page, which there is, and on your Instagram, and even on your Facebook page. I think the most extensive one was written by an Emily Woloshin on your IMDb. That one is very extensive. But not only did you have a written bio, you took the time to make a bio on your YouTube page, a documentary formed bio. I encourage off the bat, once you get done with this podcast, once my loyal listener, when you get done listening or watching this podcast, head over to the YouTube page and check out that little documentary. If you want to know, scratch the surface of who Tora Woloshin is, that's the place you ought to start. But, I need to know more. I mean, you're born in Tucson. Tell me about that.
Well, I was actually born in Los Angeles, but my mom moved when I was 4 to Tucson, and I was raised there for most of my life. I always went back and forth to LA. My mom took me to Disneyland when I was a child all the time. And then I signed my first record deal when I was almost 18. I was just about the end of my 17th year. Yeah.
Well, is that the one with Mr. Nuttin' on Me, B.O.B.? Is that
No,
is that what I read?
That was quite some time later after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been in this business we call show for a long time, okay? A lot of people, you have a jump start on the kids that are out there, starting at the tender age of 3 or 4 years old. I mean, you were 4 years old, and what are you doing? You're doing at the National Children's Group, Sunshine Generation. What is that? Was that something in Tucson? I know there's a lot of sunshine in Tucson. I've been through that state. I've done some parties in the state, in the area. I haven't had the pleasure of being in Tucson, but I've been to Phoenix and a few other places to do singles parties. It's a great state. It's a beautiful state. It's a colorful state. The Painted Desert State. Be on the tourist bureau there. I mean, tell me about 4-year-old Tora. And I guess you weren't known as Tora back then. I guess I sneaked it out. You were, well, I mean, if you care to say your real name, you can. But if not, that's fine too.
My real name is Pamela. When I was 10 years old, I released my first album and came up with a stage name that was called Pammy K.
All right. We all have embarrassing stage names. When I was first starting in radio back in 1986, that's way back in the 1900s, I was known as Dancing Danny G. Okay? I don't let that squeak. I don't let that squeak out too often. But you start off and you're trying to come up with a name that'll stick. I know that with this thing that we call social media and branding, you got to come up with something and stick with it. And if you notice on the underneath your picture, I put the Queen of Art, because I do like that as maybe a subtext for you, because if Howard Stern is the king of all media, KOAM, you have touched so many different forms of show business. I think you could be the Queen of Art, at least the Princess of Art, but maybe the Queen. Maybe you graduated to Queen. But tell me about when you were just the Princess of Art. I really want to know, and I know that this is primarily a learning podcast. It's not. Yeah. I want to learn from you how you became who you are.
Yes. Well, when I was 4, I was in this little, it was kind of like a youth performing arts group that my mom found for young children. And once I hit 5 years old, there was actually a bigger group that was called Kids Unlimited that I really wanted to be in, but I wasn't old enough yet. So I did Sunshine Generation for a year and then went on to Kids Unlimited when I turned 5. And I spent 9 years with the program, and they teach you to sing and dance and act and model and interview. They even teach you how to hold yourself, walking the stage presence. They teach you all kinds of things. So I learned literally everything in that program. And I was also in a lot of dance companies growing up and a lot of little performing. I started doing musicals kind of on my own. And after the 9 years in that program, I kind of became this troubled teen, and I started fronting some rock bands. and I got into the punk and alternative rock.
What year was this? Wait a minute.
industry.
We need to get a timeline on this, Tora Woloshin.
Yeah,
You don't
we're
have.
actually on Spotify still.
Yeah, we don't. We
But
don't have
that
to.
was
We don't have to give away your age so much. But I'm sure if people can do
oh,
math,
I don't care. That's fine.
if people
I'm
can,
young.
yeah, if people can do math, they'll figure it out. But all right, at 18, you're graduating high school. I'm guessing in Tucson somewhere.
I got my GED when I was 15 in an agreement with my mother. She said if I focused on my career full time and then got a job, that I could get my GED
Well, that's
because I was
fantastic.
having a lot of hard time in high school, a lot of bullies.
Well, that's
So
good that
it was a good
you have parents that can realize that you have some trouble. When people cry for help, you got to listen. But I want to go back to this program, the Sunshine Generation, the children's
Mhm.
group. That sounds like such a wonderful program, and I wish that more places had that. Is that something that's still going on, or is that a thing that's still happening in Tucson, or is it closed up?
Yeah, actually, programs like that exist all over the country. It's a matter of wordplay when you're really searching on Google, even just looking up nonprofit kids or nonprofit youth organizations for performing arts. That'll probably pull up, in whatever location you're in, that'll pull up all the little organizations that are around you that do that kind of thing. Kids Unlimited is still up and running today. They still are doing their things, however many years. They existed, I think they started in like the 70s or something. So when I came in, they were already up and running for a long time. And so, they're still going strong. So they have, and I think they still start at the age of 5, and they go, I think they go until 16, 17, and then they can start getting jobs as teachers, as instructors. So it's really just a wonderful program.
Yeah, as parents, we're always looking for something for our children to do, something constructive, something
Yeah.
that will make their minds expand. And the performing arts is definitely a direction to go in. When I was in school, I was always the high school, and even before that, the DJ, the guy that played the music. So that was my creative outlet. And I'm glad that you had, not just the dancing, the singing, the modeling. Did you put the books on your head and walk? How did they keep you straight? As I've seen where they put, for modeling, they'll put a stick horizontal and a stick vertical, kind of looks like a cross, and they put your arms behind it. Have you ever seen this, or have you ever done this?
I've seen it. We did not do that. We made sure that our shoulders were supposed to be. We were all typically dancers, ballet, jazz, tap, hip hop. So we knew how to conform our bodies into whatever type of situation that we needed. And so to have that type of posture was not difficult. Most of us already kind of had good posture. So, there were some exercises that we used, which was a plastic cup filled with water on your head. That's a good one. And that's kind of more or less having more of a glide in your walk rather than having all this bounce, you kind of glide. So.
Well, even as we're talking about it, I'm starting to sit up straighter. I can see you in the video starting to sit up straighter as, working, thinking about your posture. I think, all right, down in South Florida, I'm from Miami and Fort Lauderdale. I was in Distributive Education Clubs of America, the DECA, and we had an art institute in Miami, and that was one of the places that maybe I was aspiring to go to further my career. I didn't end up going there. I went to the Connecticut Schools of Broadcasting, amongst other things. But you took the time, even at such an early age. Was that something that, because you always have to have your parents involved. Did your mom find that program for you because she saw that you wanted to be in the arts, or you had a knack for it?
Well, yeah. So My mom tells a story of when I was an infant, before I was able to speak words, I started singing along to music I would hear that my mom would play. And that was before I spoke words. So I was singing words before I spoke the words. And when she noticed that I was on key and that was like, I loved doing it. Started doing it all the time. Um, she started putting me, and I would dance everywhere and do all these things. So she started, I think she just kind of researched performing arts organizations for youth. Typically, nonprofit are probably the best ones to do. And yeah, she found a few. She found quite a few and chose the best ones.
Well, it sounds like it was a good base. You know, as people are going to find out as we unpack all that is Tora Woloshin. And I know we could take hours and hours and hours. I want to be mindful of your time and limit it, you know, maybe to an hour or so and find out more about you. But I know there is so many facets, there's so many avenues of you. I don't know where to start. I mean, I guess we started with the music that you've already started making records at the tender age of 4 and 10 and even 17. And here we are at 18 and you're in a punk rock band and you're making videos. Those are out there, you said?
Yeah, there's actually videos of us, and there are on streaming platforms. You could find us. We're called Less Than Famous. Well, we were called, I should say, because we're not together. It was back in 2007 and 2008 that we were going strong, and we're called Less Than Famous. And there's videos on YouTube from back in the day, and there's music on all streaming platforms from Less Than Famous and everything, so you could still hear our little 4-song EP that we released before we broke up.
Oh, well, tell me. I mean, how many people were in the band, and who? If you can give shout outs to the people that were in the band.
Yeah, there were, I want to say 6 of us. There was Matt, who was on the keys, and the third guitarist. We had 3 guitarists. He is a painter now, doing wonderful things, still in Tucson. I believe he's still in Tucson. We called him Triple T because he used 3 T's for his name. There was Christian Pauly. I think he's in New York right now. I know the last I heard from him, he was in New York. We all kind of drifted apart. There were a lot of tragic things and crazy things that kind of happened. So we all kind of drifted apart a little bit. Christian was our lead guitarist. He was super dope. I don't know if he still plays. Then there's Jesse, the bass player. He also did some screaming. And he is now a fireman in Florida. I think he's married. I'm not sure. Yeah, he's doing good. His brother was Josh, and he was the second guitar player, the rhythm guitar player. He tragically passed away a while back, and we also lost. They had a younger brother who also passed away a while back, and then Christian had a brother who had passed away, and things were very painful with so many losses. And there was Jared. There was Jared, and he was the drummer. He was kind of the serious one in the group. He joked around, he had his moments, but we were all kind of a little immature and crazy, and on substances that we shouldn't have been on. And so Jared was kind of like the sober, sane one that was like always talking shit to us because we were doing stupid stuff. And yeah.
Well, Tora Woloshin,
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like there was some good times there, but there was strife with tragedy with all these kids that are dying at early ages. I mean, what were the causes? Was it accidental or natural causes? What was going on with these children that died? My goodness.
Yeah. Josh passed away. He had cancer. I'm not sure what it had been caused by or if it was hereditary. And his little brother passed away from an overdose, and he got into a car accident. And Christian's brother, I'm not 100% sure how he passed away. That was a very long time ago, and there was a lot of crazy ups and downs and situations with the band that happened. So I think that there was a moment, there were a couple moments where like we broke up. We were totally like a relationship. We broke up, got back together, broke up. We went on tour, and during this tour I had a relationship that was he was a little bit overbearing, controlling, and I was on the phone with him a lot trying to, like, ease his mind that nothing was going on. And that caused a lot of drama, that the band thought that he was kind of taking me away from the experience of the tour, of our first tour together. And when we got back into town, they jumped him.
Ooh.
And so that caused a lot of problems. So
now this band this band was based out of Tucson, and how far away was the tour?
The tour we did all of Arizona. We went through Phoenix, everything, hit Southern California, and then we hit Texas and New Mexico.
Yeah, that's pretty far reaching. So I guess if you had a jealous significant other, that could cause some strife, and it seems like it did. That's the trouble. Mm-hmm. I tell people when they want to be touring musicians, okay, I want to be a famous music act, but it's going to take a toll on any relationship. That's why I say to most people, do it in your teens, late teens, your early 20s, and even into your early 30s. That is when you're still made of rubber. You got Wolverine powers. You can bounce back from anything, which is what you probably had to do, whether you liked it or not, being at, 18, 19 years old. But, I tell people to do it.
That's when I went solo.
Oh.
So, I went solo. It pushed me. And I tried to get back together with them a little after that, and it just didn't work. And they were all over the place, and a couple of them were like heavy into some drugs, and they were just not reliable. And so it pushed me to go solo and to be where I am today. So I would have never done X Factor. I would have never taken that first record deal as a solo artist. I would have never done any of that if I was still with that band.
Well, for the people that are listening, before we get into that X Factor, I know that you're very known for being on X Factor, and we are going to get to that. We are. But I want to know about the first record deal, and how did that come about? Where did people see you as either a solo artist or part of that band? How did a record producer find you and say, hey, I need you on my label?
So that is a crazy story. I got asked that question before. So you have some exclusive information about to come your way. So at the time, I actually want to say, I think I might have been just barely 18. And I was dating a female. I was in a relationship with a female, and she was a stripper. And she met this guy in the strip club one day, and she called me up like, oh my gosh, I met this guy. He's got all this money. He like, has, he signs artists and he has this record label and all this, whatever. And I want you to meet him. And I'm like, cool. Okay. Like, I'm open-minded. Let's meet him. And we literally, hop into this like, almost like, not like one of those party buses, but it was like one of those big van things that you could travel with. You know what I mean? Like, he was obviously on the road. He had driven there from Los Angeles. He's from LA. And so we're sitting in this thing, and he rolls a joint. We smoke this joint, and he's like, yeah, let me hear your stuff. And I show him like all my band's music, because that's literally all I had.
Right.
And my whole phone. Okay. So I show him my band's music, and he's like, yo, this is dope. And he's like, yeah, you ever thought about doing like pop stuff? And I was like, heck yeah, I love all that stuff. I want to do everything. So he was like, I want to sign you. And I was like, I don't know about all that. Like, let me see the contract and show me what you can do first.
Right.
And so he's like, all right, here, I'll bring you out to LA and show you all my little things that I have going on. And then you can decide, and I'll present the contract to you. And I was like, cool, let's do that. So, I talked to my mom about it. She meets him. She's like, cool, well, let's figure it out. So I go to LA for like, I think it was like a week. And we go to all these clubs with all these celebrities. We're doing it big. Like, I went in the studio with Chris Brown. Like, I did all this stuff. And I went to this meeting. We had this meeting one day. He's like, okay, here's the big meeting. I'm going to get you signed by a big label and yada, yada, yada. We're going to sit with like 5 different labels right now. So we go into this meeting and we sit down. There's like maybe like 7 or 8 other people in there. There's like 3 different label representatives. And, so we're sitting in this meeting, we're talking about my music, they're asking me about my goals, and this guy, so this manager guy, he had this habit of doing a lot of ecstasy. And before this meeting happened, long story short, there was a lot of crazy drama that happened in between, with him getting us kicked out of hotels, like the W, the Lowe's, like all these big hotels. And it was just like, he would just do these drugs, get really drunk, and then just act a fool, and then just expect them to give him these rooms for free. And it started getting really weird. And so, at this meeting, we're sitting there, and he's all still messed up from the night before. It's like in the morning. He's still messed up from the night before. And, he starts feeling my leg up under the table. And I'm pushing his leg off, like, what the heck is this guy doing? And I'm trying to, like, pretend nothing's happening and, like, have this conversation with these people. And so he does it again, and I push his leg off, and I'm like, stop. Like, we're going to make a scene right now. And all of a sudden, he takes his hand above the table, and he goes. And I freaked out, and I threw my chair. I got up, I threw my chair, and I stormed out of the room. And I said, sorry, guys. And I stormed out of the room. And mind you, I'm the only female in the room, so it just feels weird, right? Yeah. And so I leave the whole building. Like 3 or 4 of these record execs chase after me, and they're like, hey, wait, like we saw the whole thing. Like, this is crazy. We can get you out of this contract. We have a lawyer. We can sign you, all this stuff. So I was like, yes, do it. Like, this is my last straw. This is like the 20th, 30th like bad thing that has happened, that I've literally like let everything, all this stuff go. And that was the last straw. I just couldn't, that was like the worst thing that he did. And I was just like, you know what, that's it. And So I took their lawyer. They paid their lawyer. They put him on a $10,000 retainer for me. And they were like, here, have our lawyer. He's retained this amount. Like, use him however you see fit. Because they didn't want to be involved. They didn't want a conflict of interest because they wanted to sign me. So I was like, cool. So I took their lawyer, told them everything, showed them everything. Boom, got me out of the contract quick. And so now I was kind of like talking to this new company. And I was like, I'm not signing shit. I'm not doing shit. Like, you guys have to do everything for me. I was like, dude, this is crazy. And they were like, dude, you don't do anything. And so I sit in the studio. I literally ended up moving all of my stuff, well, not all my stuff, but a bunch of my stuff into this studio and like living in the studio for like 2-3 months. I wrote over 65 songs with these people, right? Okay. So they're like, all right, we have some hits, we have some singles, we have albums, we have everything we need. So we're going to send you home for a couple of weeks and mix and master all these songs. Yeah. I'm like, cool, sounds good. I just spent 3 months with them, so I trusted them, you know what I mean? It was a group of like 4 people. And they had hella cash, and they ran this whole luxury car. They were giving me like luxury cars to drive around all day. We were sitting in the VIP next to Justin Timberlake at the club. Like, you know what I mean? We were doing it up. They were showing me all of these things. And so, I go home, 2 weeks goes by. I don't hear anything from them. I decide to hit them up. I'm like, hey, what's going on? It's time to do something. 2 weeks have gone by. What's going on? I don't hear anything. So, I email the next person. I email all 4 people. And then I start calling people because I haven't heard anything from anybody.
Wait, you emailed even the person that felt you up?
No. That person is out of the picture at this point.
Okay, continue.
This is a completely different company, completely different people. That guy, I sued him. I got out of the contract. I got all my stuff. That was a clean break. It was done.
Okay, continue.
This is this completely new company, completely different people. I have a bunch of my stuff, almost all my stuff, my clothes, my personal belongings there, living there. I only took a couple things home because I was only supposed to be home for a week or 2. So I barely had anything, like a week's worth of clothes and my belongings. And hitting them up. I end up hitting them up for a couple months. Few months goes by. I end up hitting up their lawyer that they paid for. And he's like, oh, you only used like $500 with me to get you out of that last contract. You literally have like $9,000 left. I was like, wow. So I just want your advice. I didn't want to do anything extra. I was like, I just want your advice. What do I do? He's like, you contacted them. I sent him all my emails, all my phone calls, everything. He's like, I think it's time to send a letter, telling them that a lawyer's getting involved because they're not responding. And so he did that. No response. We end up scheduling a court day. I have to come up with the money to fly my ass out there, stay up in a hotel for like 3 days. And one of my friend's moms helped me out. She was like, oh, I heard your story. I want to donate to your situation. And she ended up helping me out. And, I went out there literally on the day of court. They called me. No. They texted me. And they were like, okay, you could have your stuff back. Mind you, keep in mind, my mom had to help me buy all this new clothes and all this new shit because I only had so much stuff. And they were like, oh, finally hit me back. Well, I'll give you your stuff back and your music because all the 65 or whatever songs that I recorded with them, I wanted them. You know what I mean? I was like, those are mine, especially after you just did what you did. And so I was, in my ignorant self, I'm thinking, I just wanted my stuff. I'm going to drop everything. So I dropped everything. And I met up with them. I got a bat. Like, they gave me my stuff. I had nice suitcases. For some reason, they lost them, and they gave me my stuff back in garbage bags. In garbage bags. And then they put my music on CDs. And then I fly all the way back home, and I think I should have checked these CDs. Tell me why I put the CDs in, and there were only about 7 songs on there. Mind you, they were all sabotaged. They turned the drums all the way up to where the volume was peaking, and the music all the way down, and peaked my vocals all the way out, took the compression off, so I couldn't do anything with those songs.
Ouch. So I
so
think
that was a hard lesson for me and for them, because they had to shut down the company, because that completely ruined their whole reputation.
I think the bottom line for that was don't get into a van with a strange man. Okay, it's still a bad idea. Still a bad idea. But hey, I mean, this is a story that I've heard in many different ways. Hey, sign on the bottom line. We'll give you $5,000. We'll put you up in that hotel. We'll give you that nice car. You know, just sign right here and sing into this microphone, and you'll have all the masters. Even Taylor Swift didn't have all the masters. She had to re-record all her songs so she could have all the masters. Prince, the late, great Prince, had to change his name to a symbol so he can get out of a record contract. So, I mean, yes, record contracts, they've gone great for a lot of people, but for a lot of people, they've gone very badly.
But for most.
I would say, yeah, you're probably right. And you would know better than me. For most, it's not a great idea. You know, stay independent these days. But you couldn't do that in the 60s and the 70s and even into the 80s. You were beholding to these record companies to make you, guess what? Records. You know, and now that we don't have to have records, and all we have to have is a little bit of a recording device and some know-how on the engineering side, you could make your own stuff, you know, in your own house if you want to, or with a nice independent engineer. So, okay, all right, you got out of that. 18, maybe 19 years old, or was that all in the course of half a year or a year?
That was probably like a year or so.
So 18 went right out the window with that. Okay, that's our first attempt at what I heard from NASA. It's not a failure. It's your first attempt at success. Continue.
Yes.
Continue.
Yes.
Where do you go?
And I learned a lot. And then, you know, that made me want to learn a lot about the law. And then that lawyer also taught me a lot. So, you know, because I started having all these questions and having all these situations. And then, you know, he taught me how to copyright my songs without spending a dime. You know what I mean?
How do you do that? Do people got to know? Is there a simple way to do it? Can you teach people?
You really just have to have stamps. And these days with these devices, everything is stamped with dates and times of when it's like notes. My notes are all stamped on dates and times. I can't change that date and time. I could change the last date it's opened and the last date it's edited, but the original date that it was first created is still going to be on there.
Well, that was a way that people used to copyright their things. They would mail themselves a letter, you know, with the manuscript or with the plans, you know, whatever they were trying to get together. They would mail themselves a letter, and that would have the stamp right there. That would be the way that they did it. But yeah, that's smart. You know, even emailing.
Also, even these days, when you release your song, I mean, unless other people have your song already and have your lyrics typed out, you know, there's no really way that anybody would be able to prove that they wrote it before you. You know, you have the original everything.
Yeah, for sure. And
even my garage band recordings are all date and time stamped, you know?
Okay, so you've done things on your own with the program called GarageBand. See, I have never used that. I use Adobe Audition, which I guess it used to be Cool Edit, and even before that, it was I used Pro Tools. But GarageBand, I've heard about this. Is this something that you can? I guess you record off your phone or a simple microphone or a USB mic? What do you do with GarageBand?
Yeah, I have it. It actually comes on all Apple devices. It just comes with it, just like iMovie and stuff. So if you're on your phone, they have plug-in mics that you can plug into your phone. I think they have adapters for USB mics. I have a USB mic that I use my computer. And with my USB mic, you could set yourself up in like a small room that doesn't have a lot of outdoor noise. Sometimes if there's too much noise, even if the windows and everything are closed, I'll take a really thick, one of those like fur blankets, and I'll put my laptop and my mic on my lap or on a little table like right next to me, and I'll put my blanket over my whole setup. And it creates a nice boundary. And you could really just record whole things. And then they have vocal plugins that really mix your vocals to a T almost. And like if you don't know how to mix and master like me, you just throw $40 for a Ariana Grande plugin, and your shit sounds like radio ready.
Yeah, I've heard of you. You're talking about soundproofing, and for people that don't know, you need to have something on the walls or something around you. I remember listening to a story that Led Zeppelin. This is back in the '60s and '70s when engineers were really just. Some of them were great, and there was only a handful of places you could go. But some of them, if you were trying to have something homemade, they put blankets and carpet up on the walls. And Robert Plant, I think he described it as being in the womb because it was so there wasn't noise. It was like a lack of noise. And so soundproofing, that's a pretty smart idea, putting the blanket over your head. But moving through, and you can make your own music. And you put it on. I've listened to a lot of the videos that are on your YouTube, and it seems like 10 years ago you really hit the ground running. The music that's out there, even from 2012, 10 years ago, is stuff that can be played on the radio. And yeah, if I have a copy, it's going to be on radiowhat.com right behind me and playing on rotation, because the music that you have, it's solid. It's R&B, it's dance, it's hip hop. It's oh my goodness. There was one where you had a guy that was like a hype man, and you were rapping and singing, and your hype man was trying to figure out what to do. Hey, yo, what? And really, you were your own. You were, as good or better than Nicki Minaj, where you can do rap and sing. Kanye, rap and sing. When did you figure out that you could rap?
Oh, I used to write poems when I was like 6, 7, and just I would speak them, and I started turning my poems into songs when I was very young. My mom has this recording on a cassette tape still, because I used to record on these little cassette tapes on the stereo we had. And I think I might have been 4 or 5. And I wrote this song about guinea pigs because my mom used to buy me these little guinea pigs. And I wrote this song about them, and apparently I recorded it on a cassette tape. And just doing things like that, I kind of just...
Well, that's something that a songwriter...
Sometimes I would speak, and sometimes I would sing.
Well, Tora Woloshin, that's something that a songwriter such as yourself can do. You see things around you, and you turn them into song. And you're very thoughtful. I can see that you've progressed and grown throughout the years, even over the last 2 years, where a lot of things have happened in this country and the world around you. You have a song called Anaerobic, and the video and the audio, listen to the words, listen to the song "You Need Oxygen." I can't breathe, man. I don't know if it said "I can't breathe," but I remember that the visual was a lot about what happened to George Floyd and other people that have had problems with the police and the government. I mean, tell me about how Anaerobic came about. It's very thoughtful.
Yeah, when 2019 and 2020 kind of started unfolding, I felt a lot of everything that was going on at the same time. I was going through my own drama with my school, and there was drama with other government things I was involved with, my school and everything, and it was just almost just unbearable, like how much bullshit was happening around us all, in America especially. And so as much as society and the government was taking away our oxygen, I was feeling that inability to breathe in my own way. And I wanted to be able to tell my story, but also tell those whose were more tragic, whose ended more tragically, be able to tell theirs as well, and kind of express my anger and my questioning of the government.
Well, you put a song called America right on the front page of your website, and it's also the video version is also on your YouTube page, and very thoughtful. I mean, you have a lot of insight, and is this, it's like ripped from the pages of the newspaper, or even, watching the local news, or even the national, or even the world news. You look at what's going on in the world. Do you think, are we going to survive, or are we going to go extinct like dinosaurs, man? I talked on a podcast yesterday, and I got real political, and I don't want to get too political with you, but I want to know, how do you feel about the direction that this country's going in?
Well, I mean, this might be darker or lighter depending on the way that you look at this statement, but I would say that none of us survive. We all live our lives. We're given our lives. And for that, I think, is the reason why we die. We are given our lives and then have to literally give our life at the end. Yeah. So I think that, eventually in hundreds of years, evolution will take place, and us, along with the other creatures of this world, will turn into things that we can't even imagine, because, we couldn't imagine dinosaurs when we were, before that happened, so it just, I feel like, I try to really take each day at a time, but at the same time, try my best to plan for the future in a way that makes the world a better place for the people that suffer every day. Because we're all going to be demolished at some point. And I think it's all about taking away the suffering and the pain while we're here, Well,
I know you're a person that likes to get involved with your community, and you, you have ties, and I like to be involved in my community as well. I'm not in South Florida anymore. I'm in Conway, Arkansas, and we have things that go on here. And, in fact, since you said that, you've had relationships on spectrums of the sexual scale. I've volunteered myself to be a part of the Conway Pride that's coming up in November 13th. I'm the DJ. I'm not gay. I've never had well, I mean, do people have thoughts of it? I don't know, in college, but
Natural, yeah.
but I'm not gay, but I celebrate the love. I celebrate the people, and I think if people want to get married, no matter what, I mean, should they be allowed to marry goats? I think that's what the right is kind of worried about. Is that okay? If men are marrying men and women are marrying women, are we going to want to marry beasts of the earth now?
I want to marry a Boss 429.
Ah, okay. That's a car.
If
I'm
that's
guessing.
the case.
That's a car, right?
Yeah, it's a Mustang.
Yeah, I've had 3 Mustangs in my life. I stole one from my mom had the third one, but I'd say I stole it because I joyrided in that Mustang quite a bit. But my favorite was my 5.0 convertible back in 87. I enjoyed that car so much. But yeah, I guess I lost a few man points saying, "Is that a car?" Yeah, it's a car. Of course, it's a car.
You're funny.
But I mean, you're out in the community. Do you have any specific entities or organizations that you work with in Tucson or in Los Angeles?
I work with a lot of different organizations, a lot of them having to do with animals. I over the past few years, I've partnered with a lot of different organizations, just trying to kind of get to know people and kind of there were a few organizations where I took some fosters from a few times, and what I'm really trying to do is build my network of mainly foster-based organizations. Those organizations that need shelters for their animals, and eventually with my organization, which is called psrescuemission.org. We have a website, but we will eventually partner with thousands and thousands of organizations, mainly foster-based or overflow, like the Pound and Humane Societies over the whole world. And hopefully I'm trying to eventually have thousands and thousands of acres of land to be able to provide different types of shelters. And each one of these organizations have their own space to be able to send their fosters over. And I also have hopes and dreams to have another organization, which is kind of like a school and learning development home for children and youth that don't have homes. I kind of I dream of the impossible, of eliminating the foster care system and just providing a place where they can call home if they need to. They can stay and they can learn how to be in the world and be prepped for school and college and all of that. Instead of just sit there and go home to home and have all their stuff in like a trash bag and a backpack. So that's the end goal dream. I know it's very
it's lofty. No, it really is lofty. And you see movies like Matilda and even Little Orphan Annie where they get treated poorly in these children's homes. And that's hit or miss. I'm sure that there has to be good children's homes where whether they get adopted or not, or they get fostered or not, being in those children's homes is a positive influence in their lives. And all they need is an education and some love, and food on the plate and roof over the head. Of course, that's a very good goal to have. And this is something that you, as an influencer, as an entertainer, as you build a following, you can use that following for good or evil, So you have quite a few followers that are enjoying the content. I'm one of them. I'm definitely a fan of Tora Woloshin. I like the content that you've put out there. You're not just a singer, you're a dancer, but an actress too. You have some credits on your IMDb that you've done. You've done some work out there in the acting profession. Well, tell me about, where you want that to go.
I definitely want that to go far. I have been making films lately. I've been making a lot of films. I actually have a production company, full service media production, filmmaking, videographer, photography. And, I would really love to be, writing for films, for big time producers, and even co-producing and directing. And I also love editing. I love editing. And then, having a role and being in front of the camera. So kind of everywhere in the filmmaking industry, I kind of want to jump around and just be able to create with other creatives that are really doing something and making a difference in this industry.
Well, from what I understand, you're not just wanting to do it, you're also taking steps to get educated in that. Are you in some kind of a film school now, or heading in that direction?
Yes. I was in film school. My school went through a little more drama. They have a long history of drama and weirdness, but and I'm having a hard time finding another school to match their scholarship. So I can't really afford to pay a full tuition to a film school.
No, understood. So, and a lot of people don't think that you need to have college anymore. With YouTube out there,
right.
You could learn so much from books and YouTube and other sources as well. But
the first couple years of film school was really enough to know enough to be able to do everything. I've been working in the film industry since I was a little girl, so it's not like I needed too much. I learned most of my learning came through the editing, and I learned a lot of how to edit and how to do a lot of cool stuff. So
see, another gem that you're giving people. The actors and the directors and the writers. Everybody can do their job and put out all that content, but it's the editor more often than not that makes the movie. He knows where to cut, and even if the director goes, "Oh, that's my favorite part," nope. Got to cut it for time. Don't need this part. It doesn't make sense. Oh, but it took me days to film that. Nope. Cutting it, and that's my least favorite part. Keeping it. Love it. That's the best that gives exposition for this film. It's important that you leave this in. Oh, but I didn't like the way that came out. Nope. You got to keep that in. So a good editor will make that film so much better. I mean, yeah, there's very few. Robert Rodriguez is the one that comes to mind, where he shoots the film, scores the film, edits the film, and really nobody else has a lot of creative influence. He did Spy Kids and the one with Antonio Banderas, where he was oh my goodness, the one where he's no, the shooting one where he was he had the guitar with the guns in it. Oh my goodness! But anyway, those films, at least back then, it was all one person, but not all one person. You cannot do it all by yourself. You've already given hint that you have people that help you out in the audio, and you have people that can help you out in the video as well. And I talked to quite a few filmmakers on this podcast, and making shorts, that's a way to get you out there. I know that you have one that you put up for Halloween, kind of a scary short that you put out there to the world. I can't remember exactly where it's at, whether it's on your YouTube or if it might be
on Instagram. It's on Instagram.
It's on your Instagram. Okay, I'm going to encourage everyone to go and just follow you around, stalk you, as it were. There's the Instagram. It's Road Trip Sideways 8 Production. Is that the production company that you're with?
Yes.
Okay, and then there's like this little Halloween thing. I encourage people to go take a look at that and get a little glimpse, a little idea of what Tora Woloshin can do for you. You know, even on on the audio, there's plenty of YouTube, plenty of videos out there. On the video, there's plenty of video out there. My goodness, I don't want to take too much more of your time. I could talk to you for hours and hours and hours, and I want to talk to you again as time progresses, but I want to cut this so people know that it's a bite size. It's an hour. Okay, this hour flew by so quickly, but I mean, I want you to talk about the thing that that really puts you in front of an audience of what, millions? Tell me about the X Factor.
Yeah, the X Factor was great. It was very fun. It taught me a lot about myself as a performer and as an artist. Simon mentored me for about 6 months, and it was.
Simon said he loved you. Simon said he loved you, and you went because to get because Simon, or yes, you have 4 different judges sitting there. All have their own little inputs and their plugins, but Simon seems to be the one. If you could turn his head, if you can make him smile, Simon has given a persona. I mean, when he has people that are terrible on there, he's going to let you know. Like there was one, oh my goodness, was it William Hung? She bangs.
Oh.
He says, I don't like music anymore. I remember that. And when he said, I love you, that I could tell you felt that deep, and then Paula saying Tora, 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 and then, was it, LA, and, I can't remember, was it Nicole was the other one?
Yeah.
I mean, tell me about, cause you sang, I Want You Back. I think it was that particular time. I mean, but tell me about how do you pick that song and how do you get on that show? I guess the first season, but how did you get to the X Factor?
Well, my mom actually submitted a video of me singing, just this random video, and they emailed me, and I thought it was like a scam or something. I was like, what is this show? I don't even know if I knew about really, if I had even really watched the show before.
Well, what year is
I knew
this? What year is
this? This show in the UK, and he was bringing it to America, but that's all.
What year was this?
This was in 2011.
Okay, this is after American Idol is done. This is the show that he's bringing next.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, he already had this show in the UK.
Yes.
And so he was going to bring it to America. And it only lasted, I think, 3 seasons in America. And all of the forums kept talking about how everyone was so mad that they eliminated me the first season, that the ratings kept dropping each season, and they took the show down.
Oh, no. Well, okay, but still, it's a great experience being up there in front of those people. I'm sure a lot of people, a lot of exposure for you, for Tora Woloshin. Yes?
Definitely, yes.
Well, all right. Well, I appreciate that. Okay. I mean, hey, you didn't win, but in my heart, you're a winner. Okay. And,
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want her to be the winner. She did not do good. They did not do her good.
Well, that's just it. Kelly Clarkson did great in American Idol, but Clay Aiken didn't do as well. Ruben Studdard, I think he did better than Clay Aiken did in his music career, and I guess Clay Aiken is on Broadway, which is great. I mean, I guess he's doing a good job there. But and then was it Pickler? Some of the other ones that won on these types of shows. Some of them do great. We have it's so good. Do you feel like it's a good experience? It's a good thing to to strive for, or are there other avenues that you think were better for you?
I would say if you like competing, I would say to do these shows, but you just have to be careful of that final the live show agreement. You know, once you get to the final rounds, those contracts get more and more sticky. And once if you're in like the top 5 or you're the winner, that contract is not going to be pretty. And Kelly Clarkson did an interview, I think it was on 2020, when she was talking about that if she could take back the way that she became famous and doing American Idol, she would, and she would have done it a different way, because they owned her likeness for 10 years. They owned every single thing that she did. They got a percent of. And she struggled because she didn't see anything for a long time.
Once again, you're giving people gems. This is a learning podcast, and we're learning from you. Sometimes going the other route, another route, maybe singing covers in a cover band will get you started until you can make your own songs. And then you start doing, like a 80-20 and then a 50-50, and then singing more and more of your own songs.
I would say how to play an instrument.
Okay. What do you play? Do you play anything?
That's going to be one of your most prime things that is going to make you different as an artist. If you can play an instrument and you can also dance, then you're a triple threat. If you're not a triple threat, it's going to be really, really, really hard for you in this industry, because there's a lot of triple threats out there fighting, including me.
I know there's a cartoon version of you playing piano. Do you actually play piano?
Yes, and there's the music video for America and music video for Eclipse. I am playing the piano. Very
good. When did that start?
I've been playing since I was maybe like 12 or 13. When I was 13, I produced my first album that I wrote, and I did it all on my keyboard. And it kind of grew from there. I used to play the guitar, but I had an injury to my left hand, so I can't do chords the same. I also play the drums.
Hey, that's a win right there. It's good. It's good. The drums are what makes, the backbeat. That keeps the rhythm going. So drums are very important. And everyone I guess all 6 of the members of Less Than Famous must have been important in their own right. 3 guitars? Really? Come on. That's a lot of guitars. But cool.
Well, our third guitarist also played the keys.
Yes, he did. So
he would do the keys, and then he would jump on the little things every now and then.
Well, I'm looking for, the members, the remaining members of Less Than Famous to do a reunion tour at a theater near you. Maybe they'll back you up one of these days on the Tora Woloshin tour, But do you see yourself staying in the Tucson area or the LA area and not branching out, or do you want to be a touring musician all over the world?
I am a global musician. I've toured China. I've been to Jamaica. I've been all over the place. I lived in Miami for a year. I've been all over the place. Right after X Factor, when I released Roses and all those songs, my music hit top 40 radio, and I did a whole radio tour from all across the country, from Y100 to Z100.
Well, I did a little stint with Y100 at one time, so that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I was at Exito 105.5, and I was on the morning show as well. But I, back in the mid '80s, I was their third banana. Where I would be out on the streets of Miami, dressed up in a diaper or something like that on Valentine's Day, giving out tickets to whatever. Oh, it was just weird. We were the Rainbow Connection back then. And every car in Miami, at least every third car had a rainbow sticker. Y100.
Awesome.
Good times. I loved Miami, and I'm glad that you've taken your talent and you're giving it to the world. you have so many different avenues to explore. There's no way that you can lose as long as you keep working, keep that work ethic that you have going right now. I see nothing but great
Yeah.
things for you, Tora Woloshin. And I want to thank Heston Cleveland for putting us together. I don't know how did you get involved with Heston? He's a cool dude.
I think that my cousin introduced me to him.
Okay, shout out to the cousin.
My cousin Ke.
Okay,
You might know.
is he a singer as well?
He is.
I
He is
think-
a musician. He does some music. Yeah.
I think I've heard some stuff from him. Heston's a cool dude, and he likes helping people and putting people out there. But let's wind this thing down. I want you to give some shout outs to people that have helped you along the way, and then we'll close this thing up. I don't want this to be the last time that we talk, though. I've enjoyed every minute of this, and I know we've only scratched the surface that is Tora Woloshin. But if you want to give any shout outs or tell people anything else about you, go ahead and do that now.
Yeah. I mean, my mother's my rock. She's the one who's pushed me my whole life to never give up. And yeah.
That's the only shout out you need to give. Yay, mom. That's what football players, when they score that touchdown, that maybe their dad was the one that taught them how to throw a football. But what do they say to the camera? Hi, mom. It's always mom. She's the most important thing in the world, which is great, which is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I always like to finish these things off with last words for the people. This could be words to live by. This could be something you heard a long time ago, maybe a mantra that you wake up with every morning, or just whatever pops into your head at this moment in time. Tora Woloshin, the queen of arts, give the last words for the people.
Yeah. I guess no matter what you go through and no matter what things change your character, always change yourself for the better and do things in your life to make yourself a better person.
Well, there you have it, party people. Tora Woloshin. Oh, my goodness. Just put her name in your search bar. She's got her own website, really good website, Tora Woloshin, TORA WOLOSHIN, ToraWoloshin.com. Find her there and she's got her Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all the socials. And she's got her IMDb page. I expect that thing to be filled up as her career blossoms. Her records. There's very few people that make a career of being a musician, a working musician, and being a working actor, which is, hey, it's not unheard of. But if anybody can do it, I think Tora Woloshin can. She's got the work ethic. She's a song and dance girl. Yeah, see? And let her sing and dance and act for you and even be behind the camera. She's shown some skills there. Check out the Instagram. There's a Halloween Instagram right there. It's by the, I don't know, what did I say before? Road Trip Sideways 8 production. And it's just a little short, but it's, a little something for the Halloween season. Very exciting. But I expect to see great things. Thank you so much, Tora Woloshin, for being on the What Makes You Famous podcast. It's been an extreme pleasure for sure. And that's it for this edition of What Makes You Famous. Now, if you, my loyal listener, if you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email keysdan@aol.com. That's it for me. It's KeysDan, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.